What's up everybody, and welcome back to Legit Whiskey Reviews. And today I'm going to be talking about 7 bottles that I always rebuy. Alright, so the other day I was sitting there looking at my shelf and I was thinking, you know, like I have a lot of bottles, and I have a lot of bottles that I always rebuy no matter what. You know, I run out of them and I always go back and I restock them. I always rebuy those bottles because they're that good. Me, especially having a whiskey tube channel, doing reviews all the time, typically I don't tend to like buy bottles over and over because I'm constantly want to try new bourbons, the new stuff that comes out, and so I need room on my shelf in my house to store the whiskey. So typically I don't usually rebuy whiskeys except the ones that I think are great, are available for the most part. There's one on this list that's not typically available for most people all the time. It's available in some places, but great price for what it is, always available on the shelf, and super enjoyable. You know, my favorite part is the value, and just that you can go to the store pretty much for most of these and go to the shelf, and they're always going to be there. Maybe 1 or 2 stores you'll have to go to, but you'll always see them on the shelf for the most part. And one of them that's kind of hard to find is what I have in the glass here today. This will probably be like, these are not going to be in any particular order, but I believe this one's like number 3 on my list if I'm not mistaken. But let me go to the nose real quick on this one. This smells so sweet, cherry. There's a like distinctive grape note. Your caramel, vanilla, and sweet oak. So just the nose on this is amazing. A great nose. And this one is 90 proof. Let's go to the palate. Cheers. Still sweet on the palate. Sweet oak. That vanilla caramel transfers to the palate. That grape note also transfers to the palate, as well as that cherry. Like everything I got on the nose pretty much transferred to the palate. A little bit of spice to round it out. It's about a medium finish, not overly, you know, not overly complex, not an overly long finish, but perfect for what it is, if you can find it. That's the thing. But love this one. All right, so number 1 on my list, one of my favorites. Everyone's heard me talk about this many times. A classic. If you're beginning into bourbon, if you're a whiskey nerd, no matter what, this is one that you must have on your shelf because it's just a classic and is really good. So number 1 on my list is Wild Turkey 101. Of course, coming in at 101 proof. This comes out of course, the Wild Turkey Distillery. It's just a great overall bottle. It makes a great mixer. The 101 rye is very good too. A little bit peppery, sweet, but yeah, as far as this one, you get your classic vanilla, caramels, toffee. You get a lot of like cinnamon, a lot of baking spices. Great finish. It just does what you want it to do. If you want to just sip on it, it's great for that. And if you want to just mix it, you won't feel bad, because this, in my area, this is about $22. I can get this for $22. Sometimes I've even seen it for like $19. So just a great value here, and one that I always rebuy. As soon as I run out, I always pick this one up again. All right, number 2 on my list. So number 2 on my list, I just didn't happen to have the one. I was going back and forth, but the one that I was originally gonna pick, I had just ran out of, so I didn't have it on my shelf. So I went with this one. So the Old Forester 1910. Another one. This one comes in at 93 proof, and coming from Old Forester, the one I was originally going to put on the list was the 1920. But either way, either one that you buy, doesn't matter. They're both amazing, great. But this one is a toasted, so this one you're going to get like sweet marshmallow notes, just a lot of sweet notes. It's great for the fall, if you're camping or just like in front of the fire. It's just a great Great whiskey to sip on, especially for the fall. I don't know why, it just gives me the fall vibes, but that marshmallow really comes through on this, and all those like sweet cotton candy notes. Great whiskey. All right, number 3. So number 3 is what I have in my glass here, and like I said, some people might be pissed off. For the most part, I've seen these pretty often on the shelf, and like I said, whenever I see them on the shelf, I always pick it up, because you know, it is hard to find sometimes, but I always get it at retail. I believe $40 to $45 is what I usually get it at. I think retail is like, if you can find it, like 35 to 40. So yeah, I pretty much get it at retail. When I do see it on the shelf, I always pick it up because it's a classic. Coming out of the Buffalo Trace Distillery, Eagle Rare 10-year. So this is a 10-year-old bourbon. It comes in, I believe this is 90 proof. And yeah, it's just a classic. And the thing with this one, why I almost didn't put it on the list, is because it's so hard to find. And I know when you can find it, sometimes liquor stores like overprice this by a lot. Like sometimes I've seen it for like $80, $90, and that's ridiculous. Retail on this, I feel like it's perfect. It's a great value, and it's a classic. Like, it's just amazing, like the amount of flavor and notes that comes out of this one for the proof. I'm trying to, yeah, so it is 90 proof. So just for the proof, you know, it's not even 100 proof, but the amount of flavor and just the classic flavors that come out of it, I really enjoy this bourbon. So next on my list is one that I used to see on the shelf all the time, and for a while, like maybe for like a good 6 months, I didn't see it on the shelf, and I was kind of worried because I had ran out. But then I started seeing them on the shelf again, and I've been seeing them on the shelf again regularly. But this one is another go-to of mine. Whenever I run out, I always pick it up. Sometimes I even buy 2 because they're that good. But the one I'm talking about is Old Grandad 114. So Old Grandad 114, of course, 114 proof. It comes out of the Jim Beam Distillery, and this one here is another one that it makes a great mixer if you're into that. Personally, me, I just sip on it, but like I said, it also makes a great just sipping whiskey. Tons of orange citrus on this, a lot of orange citrus, a lot of cinnamon, a lot of rice spice. Long finish, and for the price, I can get this for $30. I think it's a little bit higher in some other places, but $30 for 114 proof bourbon, that's just hard to beat. Especially for, I feel like this is one that's like underrated. Like not a lot, like people talk about it and the word is out there, but I just feel like people don't put it on their lists a lot for some reason. And I feel like this one is definitely a bourbon that punches above its weight class. So that's my opinion on that one. All right, so 3 more to go. So next on my list is another one from the Wild Turkey Distillery. Another one that I always, whenever I run out, I always make sure I pick it up. I think this next one, I usually pick this up for like $50 to $55, but I'm talking about Wild Turkey Rare Breed. So this one comes in at 116.8 proof. So nice high proof. And I believe, I don't remember, but I think what goes into the blend, the blend of whiskeys that goes into this one is between 6, 8, and 12 years old to make this bourbon here. If I'm not mistaken, I could be off on that, but I believe those are the ages that go into making the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. So excellent. If you get a lot of the same notes as the Wild Turkey 101, more or less, but just ramped up, just on a completely different level. If you enjoy Wild Turkey 101, this one's gonna take you for a ride, and just definitely a step up, and one that you should try if you haven't tried. It's a classic. It's in every liquor store for the most part, and just give it a try. You won't be disappointed. All right, so next on my list, I debated about putting this one on the list because I know it's another one that some people can't like walk into the store and find on their shelves. Usually it's different batches 3 times a year, and whenever I see them on the shelf, for the most part I pick them up, and I do always see these on the shelf. I still see A and B batches from this year sitting on the shelf. Just every time I go to the store, I just see them there at retail, like I think like $6 or $70. What I'm talking about is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. The one I pulled out here is the A123. This one was pretty good actually for this year. I see the B batch on the shelf all the time, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on that one. I don't know, I've been staying away from that one, but that's the first one, the B batch, that was under 12 years old. As far as this one, most of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs, they come in at 12 years old, meaning that the youngest whiskey that goes into making this batch was 12 years old. There could be way older whiskeys in there, and for the first time they announced that not all of them are going to be 12-year age stated, and B batch for this year was 11 years and like 6 months or something like that. So that was a shock to a lot of people. The C batch is one I'm hunting for this year because that one comes in at 13 years and 7 months, so, and 133 proof. So I'm super excited about that one. But this one, just a classic Elijah Craig notes. You get dark, deep, rich, brown sugar, cherry. It's peppery, it's spicy, just like all the great notes that I love. Between the balance between sweet and spicy I get in this, and if you get an especially good batch, it's even on another level because you get like the thick, rich, like syrupy, dark, like fruits and dark sugars and oak, sweet oak, to balance all that spiciness. It's just great when you can get a great batch. It's definitely, this is, I always say, one of the best values in bourbons for the age and for the proof. I always say that about this one. And finally, last one on my list that I'm going to be talking about is another one. Whenever I see them on the shelf, and they're usually on the shelf, I'm a big fan of their rye, of the barrel proof rye, or the single barrel proof rye. And this one is no different. So what I'm talking about is Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Yeah, so this one is the single barrel proof. This one here is 129.3 proof. I usually see these on the shelf anywhere between probably like $55 to $65. It depends. Sometimes I see them cheaper, but anyways, another one, great value, and one that I feel like now is being talked about a little more, especially that rye. The rye is excellent, by the way, but it's one that I feel like, since it's there all the time sitting on the shelves for most people, like a lot of people, like they know about it, but not a lot of people talk about it. And I feel like anything that Jack Daniel's does, for the most part, that's not Old Number 7, in my opinion, it's great. And this one is my favorite, one of my favorites from Jack Daniel's. Always available, always excellent price, and you always get something different. Since they're all single barrels, you might get something different. Some might be like extremely good, and some like good, but they're always good in my opinion. So there you guys have it. Now, I was gonna throw some ryes in here, but maybe I might just do a rye list and do this again. But these are just some of the bourbons that I rebuy whenever I run out of them, because I think they're amazing, great values, and always always my go-tos when I don't know what to drink. I always count on these to drink. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and keep it legit, and do it for the love of whiskey. Cheers.